Hello and thank you for watching Times Television, TTV. In a moment, we'll be handing you over to Lilongwe at Bingu International Convention Center, or BICC, where there is an event, the handover ceremony of mobile vans by the UNFPA. Do stay with us. Posachedwa chikhala chokuperekani kwa anzathu mu mzinda wa Lilongwe kumeneko ku Bingu International Convention Center, BICC, kumene a UNFPA akupereka ma mobile vans. Mukhale pompo tione limodzi.
The youth maybe one of the population which have been affected with COVID, and the youth-friendly health services are not supposed to stop. So these mobile health clinics, I'm told, will be going out there offering different services. Allow me, Honourable Minister, at this juncture, invite Mr. Hans Kadengeza, youth-friendly health service coordinator and the Minister of Health, to come here and brief you, Honourable Minister, on the joint program on girls' education.
Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda, Secretary for Health, the Norwegian Embassy representative, Mr. Muf Strom, the country rep for UNFPA, Yang Wong, and all the delegation that is present here. Allow me, Honorable Minister, to just give you a short brief on the joint program on girls' education. This is the program that started in 2014 in the 3 districts of Salima, Deza, and Mangochi, with an aim of actually improving girls' education as it states, but inclusive of the dependence of our girls to continue with the education. There was an element the access of sexual, reproductive, and health services for young people. So it was a joint program that was coordinated at the national level with the Ministries of Health, Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Education, as well as Gender. We had also an element of including Ministry of Internal Security, because we actually involved and engaged police officers to manage the victim support units in all of the schools and health facilities that were there. So from the 2014, we have seen a lot of good progress to this project, where a lot of adolescent girls have actually directly benefited from the activities that have been targeted to them in all the schools within the 3 districts that I have mentioned. Apart from that, we have also seen a very good collaboration between Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education in terms of how the referral system is working. For example, if young people want to access the services from a health facility, teachers were able to call the health workers to say, we are sending our students or our learners to come and access the services to your facility. And the health workers were very ready to receive them. Once they are done with the provision of services, they were sending back to the school. So we felt that was one of the very good collaboration, defeating all the challenges that have been existing for a number of years in terms of access to sexual and reproductive health services. But suffice to say, another challenge was still to look at the young living in the hard-to-reach areas. So that is where the deliberate effort was made to make sure that we have some mechanism that will reach out to those young people that are living in those hard-to-reach areas. This is why today we are witnessing this ceremony where through Norwegian Embassy and through UNFPA, we managed to actually procure the 6 mobile vans that will be actually addressing that challenge to reach out to the young people that are living in those hard-to-reach areas. So, in a short, brief, Honorable Minister, that is where we are today, but we still feel there is a lot that we can do to our young people. This is the starting point. We are hopeful that we will continue doing that with the assistance from the donors. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, as you have heard, briefly, that's it about the program. So this mobile health clinic, as I said, will hope to offering the contraceptive methods, but also condom counseling and access, STI treatment, but also ART services, as well as cervical cancer screening. As I said, Honourable Minister, these mobile health clinics have been procured by UNFPA, who are coordinating the program, but the funds from Royal Norwegian Embassy. So allow me at this juncture, Honourable Minister, to invite Mr. Mofstrom, who is representing the Royal Norwegian Embassy, to give us his remarks.
I think I take the chance of taking this up. Honorable Minister of Health, Secretary of Health, Chief of Health Services, UNFPA representative, Directors of Health and Social Services for the 3 recipient districts, standing here and looking at the vans, I would have liked to see them in the field actually, already delivering services to the students out there and the people in the districts. But van for loft. Okay, I'll bend down then. I would like to stress the importance of ownership of the vans and that they are used to the intended benefits. I also hope and trust that the mobile vans will be used diligently to increase access to SRHR services among adolescents and youth and contribute to the reduction of school dropouts, due to teenage pregnancies and allow girls to stay in school. And unfortunately, I would add that in another program we have seen, unfortunately, vehicles we have supplied being used for purposes that they should not be used for. But I have big trust in this new government and the statement from the President himself that we will have better use of public resources in the future. As I said, the event today is part of our activities under the Joint Programme for Girls' Education. This program is one of the most important contributions to Malawi and a program which we really believe in. The program has a holistic and cross-sectoral approach to address all the barriers facing girls and boys in their everyday life. I'm convinced that that kind of holistic approach is necessary if we are to meet the challenges for the children in Malawi and to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. I know the ownership taken up by the different ministries and government in this program, today represented by the Minister of Health. I would like to express my gratitude to the government for the excellent collaboration we have had since the beginning of the Joint Programme for Girls' Education in 2014. I would also like to extend and appreciate the joint UN approach to the project and would like to thank our friends in the UN for their effortless work and contribution to achieve the results in this project. And especially today then to the representative of UNFPA, Mrs. Hong. The collaboration between the government of Malawi, the UN and Norway to improve the situation for girls in Malawi is strong. I look forward to see what it will bring for the future as we are now entering into the new phase of the Joint Programme for Girls' Education, Phase 3. I would like to ensure you that the continued commitment of Norway to these efforts and support to Malawi. Finally, again, Honourable Minister, I would like to express my appreciation of our tripartite partnership and would like to congratulate you with the new mobile vans. May they be of great benefit to the girls in Malawi and may they be used wisely to achieve the intended purpose. Thank you for your attention.
Maybe a big hands for the Lower Norwegian Minister. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Honourable Minister, allow me at this time to invite UNFPA country representative, Young One, to come over and give us her handover speech.
Guest of honor, Minister of the Health, Honorable Kumbiji Kandudu, Member of Parliament, and Mr. Ornop Strom, Minister, Councillor, and Chargé d'Affaires of Norway Embassy, Secretary of Health, Minister of Health, Dr. Charles Mwansambo, and the representative from the different districts, and also all the colleagues from different ministries, especially health and the local government, also colleagues from the UN family, and the friends from the media, and the ladies and gentlemen. Kwagwanji. You can imagine how much I practiced all this morning. I feel honored this morning to be part of this auspicious occasion as UNFPA hands over 6 mobile vans worth of $450,000 to the Ministry of the Health to serve the young people in Malawi. This contribution is part of the ongoing support through the UN Joint Programme on Girls' Education, fully funded by the Royal Norwegian government, implemented in 3 districts: Salima, Mangochi, and Deja. Honorable Minister and ladies and gentlemen, this event signifies the commitment of the UN family to support the Malawi government is in ensuring continuity of accessible, affordable, and quality sexual reproductive health and rights as we grapple with pandemic. I think more than 1 year we have been living with this pandemic. Recently, the world commemorated 1 year living with COVID-19. The impact has been devastating. As all we know, every single person in the world was affected, including Malawi, but especially it has been hitting harder young people, especially adolescent girls and young women. The COVID-19 school closure contributed to an increase in gender-based violence in teenage pregnancy and child marriage in Malawi. According to a study conducted by Ministry of the Gender, Children, Disability, Social Welfare, over 12,000 child marriages, and more shockingly, over 44,000 teenage pregnancy were reported in 2020. Only the period from March till August in 2020, comparing to the previous year, same period. It is increased by 75% within only 6 months. So it is actually a shocking result. And the impact to the young people, what pandemic can have, that it is leading to an inconsistency or a difficulty to access youth-friendly, barrier-free sexual reproductive health and rights. We are hoping that with these mobile vans provided to the 3 districts, those young people living in that areas will be reached and will have access to those SRH services without any challenges, even if COVID-19 continue to living with us. During 2020, together with the Reproductive Health Directorate of the Ministry of Health, Minister, we have advocating strong measure to be placed to ensure continuity of quality and COVID-19 safe health services, especially targeting the women in an unprecedented health crisis we ever experienced in human history. Because we were fully aware of that, more women and teenage girls actually are dying every year due to the complication related to the pregnancy than the actual number of deaths recorded due to the pandemic. Maternal health data collected in the same district show that a large number of the women and teenage girls might have not sought antenatal care due to the COVID-19 infection risk, or social restriction made them to be so difficult to reach out to health facility. In 2019, the number of antenatal care recipients actually was over 18,000 women and girls. But in 2020, it dropped to 10,110 women and girls actually have sought the antenatal care in 3 districts. It is really revealing that service has been disturbed, and we really need to work harder to continue to have services in any crisis setting. Honourable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the vans are equipped with various equipments and offer all services under one roof. Inside of the van, as some of you may have seen, they have examination couch, consultation corner, wheelchair, access ramps, generator, air conditioning, etc., etc. So it is kind of small SRH clinic available and reaching out to people in the remote area. The well-equipped mobile van will offer integrated sexual reproductive health services, including HIV services, psychological counseling, and sexual transmitted infection treatment, screening of the cervical cancer, counseling and the provision of family planning services, also maternal health, as well as post-exposure prophylaxis is always difficult words, and including post-abortion care screening. Each of the 3 implementing districts will receive the 2 mobile vans to be able to provide such comprehensive services. Since the COVID-19 pandemic is not going anywhere for the time being, these vans will be able to equip with protocol that will reduce the infection risk of the COVID-19, together with PPE will be available together with the van. Honourable Minister and ladies and gentlemen, the UN Joint Program Girls Education is going towards the 3rd phases. Starting from the December 2020 till October 2024. Apart from the procuring this mobile van, UNFPA together with the UNICEF as well as the WFP, as well as the government of Malawi, we have achieved quite a number of success results. When the program started, the school dropout rates were 9.7% for the girls and 9.6% for the boys. Thanks to the program, jointly implemented by the UN family as well as the government of Malawi and civil society, the rate has dropped to the 5.2% for both boys and girls. So more girls and more boys continue to stay in the school and continue their education. And the girls' transition rate to the secondary school improved from 44.2% to 47.8%. In 2019 alone, over 265,000 young people benefited from the Youth-Friendly Health Services Center. And of course, this program has supported renovation of 17 youth-friendly health services facilities in 3 districts. Over 200,000 school learners have been benefited from SRH activity conducted in 169 schools in 3 districts. 159 girls went back to schooling thanks to the advocacy of the mothers group supported by this program. However, considering the total number of the adolescents and the young people between age of 10 to 12 years old in the target area, which is over 850,000 young people, the reached number through the program indicating us there are jobs to do. We have to do more. We have to reach out more young people for them to be able to make the right decision about their body and continue to stay in the school to finish their education. Therefore, we are calling for all partners, especially the government of Malawi, to scale up our joint effort to reach out to adolescents and youth already left behind with requisite sexual and reproductive health services and information about their rights. Honourable Minister, the mobile vans will be handed over to the government and will be managed by district council. But it is also expected that the service provider like Malawi Family Planning Association will be used the van to be able to deliver the services during the program implementation period. Once again, we can reiterate our support to the UNA family to support the government of Malawi and the civil society to really ensure that young people will access services, young people will continue their education, will gain their skill to be able to compete and live their life. But more importantly, their rights will be realized not only in the 3 districts we are working in, but also through the partnership with the government and the civil society. I'm very sure best practice of accumulated by the program will be scaled out in coming year in different parts of the Malawi. But also we are very grateful to the Royal Norwegian government for their continued support. And I'm very, very certain that UN family, together with the government of Malawi, every single cent invested by our donor will be spent to improve the well-being of the young people, particularly adolescents, girls, and young women in those areas. So thank you very much. And really, I wish you a great week ahead. But most importantly, I think this is very famous. The phrase in the Mozambique, our neighboring country, our fight has not stopped. Our fight continues. And the sexual reproductive health and right, it is our struggle and our fight until every single girl and women have access to universal, affordable, and quality services without any fear, the fear and the barrier. Thank you very much.
Another hand for Ms. Yang Wang. Thank you very much. What a comprehensive handover speech from UNFPA. Honorable Minister, as the UNFPA country level was speaking, she mentioned a number of services which the mobile health clinic would be offering to young girls. I don't know whether she forgot, but I'm reliably informed that the mobile health clinic will also be offering voluntary male medical circumcision. Allow me at this junction, Minister, to invite the Secretary for Health, Dr. Charles Mwansambo, to come over to have his remarks, but also ask USH to invite Honorable Minister to address us this morning. He looks so energetic, even though he got his first vaccine yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Josh. Indeed, the vaccine is here, and there's nothing to worry about. I mean, there's quite a lot of misinformation out there which we should ignore and concentrate on defeating this COVID-19. Thank you. Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda, let me also recognize the UNFPA country representative, Yang Wang, and then Mr. Muf Strom, who is Minister Councillor and Church Affairs at the Royal Norwegian Embassy. Let me also recognize Principal Secretary of Administration in the Ministry of Health, Mr. Beston Chisamile, Dr. Queen Dube, Chief of Health Services in the Ministry, Director of Reproductive Health, Dr. Kachali, and your team from Reproductive Health in the Ministry. Let me also recognize our teams from the districts. We have representation from Salima, Dedza, and Mangochi at both health, led by the Directors of Health and Social Services, and I'm informed some have brought in people from education and local government as well, and representatives of district commissioners, you're welcome. Teams from the Royal Norwegian Embassy, UNFPA, and also members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Well, I was confronted by the youth this other time that with some figures from our 2018 national census. So what they said is 46% of the Malawian population is under the age of 15. And if you look at the youth, if so speaking, we're defining 15 to 29 as the youth, it's about a quarter of the Malawian population. So if you take everybody below the age of 29, which strictly speaking should be the youth, is more than 60% of our population. So their argument was, should we really be negotiating for a youth-friendly service, or you, the big ones, should be negotiating for an adult-friendly service? So they had a point, because the majority of our population is youth. So our services should be for you, the youth. And the adults should just be enjoying a bit of benefits from there. So I'm glad that working with our partners, we this morning receiving these vehicles that will enable us to go to the hard-to-reach areas, so that it should be the adults negotiating for the service, not the youth. Because Malawi is a youthful nation, and we need to do everything possible to support the youth. They say a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. So by keeping our youth healthy, we're building a future for our country. With those few remarks, it's now my humble duty to request Honourable Minister to speak to us here and accept this beautiful donation that you're giving on behalf of the Malawi government. Thank you very much. I'm just being reminded by the Honourable Minister that we cannot say an acceptance speech before we've received the vehicles formally. So can we formally receive the vehicles and then the Honourable Minister will say thank you. Yeah, sure. We'll go this way. Let's go. Oh, yeah. No, report. Yeah, sure.
The Secretary for Health, Dr. Charles Masambo, the Chief of Health Services, Dr. Queen Dube, present here, and also our PS administration, Mr. Samire, who is present here, the UNFPA representative, Ms. Yang Hong, and all officials from UNFPA present, the Minister, Council and Chargé d'Affaires from the Royal Norwegian Embassy, Mr. Mafstrom, and all officials from the Royal Norwegian Embassy, directors of health and social services for the 3 recipient districts, namely Deza, Mangoji, and Salima, are present here. All directors, deputy directors, and all senior officials from the Ministry of Health, and indeed if you have any from local government, all distinguished guests that are watching us are here. It is live on Zodiak and MPC, and also those who have joined us virtually, you are welcome to this function. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm so pleased to preside over this handover ceremony of mobile vans for youth, sexual and reproductive health outreach services that UNFPA has made to us today. The vans have been donated at a time that our youth are facing challenges in accessing sexual and reproductive health and rights services, especially those who are living in hard-to-reach areas. The COVID-19 pandemic has increased the challenges as most of the youths, they have shunned services in a bid to observe precautionary measures for contracting COVID-19. We have witnessed the donation of the 3 mobile vans, 1 for Deza, 1 for Mangoji, and Salima, but here in total we are going to get 6 of them. These vans have been procured by UNFPA Malawi under the joint program in Girls Education Project with funding from the Norwegian government. We are so grateful to the Royal Norwegian government for making available funds to UNFPA to provide the vans, the mobile clinics, especially for those hard-to-reach clinics in our rural areas. Like the Secretary for Health said, over 50% of our population, it is the youth. But also we have to take note that over 80% of Malawians' population, they stay in the rural areas. And most of them, they have no access to health care service, and especially the youth and indeed the women. So it is so pleasing to me and indeed to our ministry to get these mobile clinics for our youth, also our young women, so that we can provide the needed services, especially to do with sexual reproduction, and indeed also making them to know their rights. Because to me, the issue of the youth, and especially the challenges which they face, we are talking of early marriages, and also Ms. Yang, she talked about early pregnancies. We have had over 20,000 our young girls getting pregnant, also partly due to the COVID-19. But to me, the issue is more than a health issue. It will require a multi-sectoral approach. It is about mindset change, like it is being championed by our Vice President, Dr. Saulos Chilima. It is about our traditions. It is about our culture. It is about education. It is not a health issue. So no matter what we can try to provide as a Minister of Health, but my appeal is that it requires multi-sectoral approach. It requires the involvement of our traditional leaders. It requires the involvement of our religious leaders. It requires mentorship. They need to be mentored. We need role models in all the rural areas. We need those successful women to mentor the youth. We need women like our Chief of Health Services, Dr. Queen Dube, to do the mentoring. You need the women ministers, indeed also the female MPs, to mentor them, our young girls, and indeed our young boys as well. Because it is not about the girls only or the females only. It is about the young boys and also the young men of our country. So it will require that multi-sectoral approach so that we can address the challenges. The challenges is not providing condoms. The challenges is not providing family planning tools. No. It is about telling them their rights. It is about, educating them. It is about providing the necessary amenities for them to use. It is about the social sector as well. What is it that they do when after school? We need also to look at that. Because half of the time they're in school, what are they doing after school? What is it that as a government we can provide to our youth after school to keep them busy, to keep their minds busy? So it is more than a healthy issue, and I'm very, very glad that this program, it also involves about rights. Most of the children, they do not know their rights, or they are misinformed, and indeed sometimes they get disinformation. So it will require all of us, and I'm happy that we're working with the Ministry of Education. I'm happy that we're also working with the Ministry of Gender and Community Development, because it will require all of us to come together and see how best as a country we can move together in order to address the challenges of our youth which they are meeting on a daily basis in the rural setting. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better time. These funds would have been donated rather than now. They have been timely and will go a long way to improve access to services for our youth and our young women in the 3 districts. And I'm so happy because this fits in with also our community health strategy as a ministry, and also it fits in with the public reforms which our Ministry of Health is undertaking. And this program, it also being championed by the Vice President of this country, Dr. Saulos Chilima. And one of the strategies we want to pursue as a ministry is accessibility, increasing it, but we are also talking of the same, of the mobile vans. Because we know it takes a lot to build a proper structure, but if we have the vans, it will make it a little bit better for our people. And I'm so grateful that the vans you have provided today, they look so solid, because we have to keep in mind of the situation in our rural areas, especially this time when it is raining. Most of the roads, they're impassable. So when we are providing mobile clinics, and indeed we are providing ambulances, we also have to look at the terrain of where we want to provide the services. We are all aware of the challenges, like we have said, we have observed during the crisis of COVID-19 pandemic, the surge in teenage pregnancies, the child marriages, and also instances of sexual gender-based violence cases. And also we know there have been a surge, especially in rape. These are the issues, these emotional issues as well. So these are the things which we have to look at. And indeed, if we can provide these services, because sometimes, like I said, just talking to the youth, it makes a big difference. But sometimes maybe they don't even have somebody, to talk to. And sometimes, they would want to get the service, but the one who is managing the health center, it is your aunt or it is your uncle. How are you going to go there and get a condom? You can't, So these are all the issues which we have to look at and indeed try to improve our services. Thank you so much, UNFPA. The vans are out of state. They have an examination table, consultation table, chairs, and a fridge. I'm happy that you have a fridge, because I can even put my COVID vaccine in there to be delivered to the rural areas. So I'm very excited about that one. We also have patient screen and emergency box, just to mention a few. There's also a generator to enable processing of instruments when out in the community. And we have heard that each one has been procured at a cost of $65,000 US. It is a lot of money, and for that, we thank you. May I urge our directors of health and social services from the mission districts to please make sure that the vans are taken care of they are being maintained and also used for the intended purpose. These ones, they are very good for carrying magala, but these are not for charcoal. Please, there's a lot of charcoal, but these are clinics, they are not intended for charcoal. So I hope you take good care of them. Let me take this opportunity to inform you that during the COVID-19 pandemic, health services continue to be offered and are not suspended, as you might have heard from the rumors that were spreading. My ministry, the Ministry of Health, and the other health service implementing stakeholders continue the provision of services in line with our goal for universal health coverage. That is, we do not want to leave anyone behind. As we all know, access to services will contribute towards attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. I urge all that are sick or indeed need information to go to our health facilities for assistance. Once again, the ministers of local government and indeed health would like to really appreciate the collaboration that we have had with the UN agencies and indeed with the UNFPA, but also sincere gratitude and thanks go to the Norwegian government, the Royal Norwegian government, for availing the funds that had made the procurement of these funds possible. And it is our sincere prayer that this is just the beginning. And just to remind you, we have 28 districts in Malawi, so there's still a lot of work which we have to do. With these few remarks, let me also take advantage of the platform which I have to say the COVID vaccine is here. I got mine yesterday, and for the first time I slept very well, because now I have no fear, I have no anxiety, because I know indeed there is hope of us saving the country from this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much all for coming, and I wish you a blessed day.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that remarks. This marks the end of our program this morning. We started with a word of prayer. We also close with a word of prayer, Honorable Minister, before you interact with members of the press. Allow me to invite Madam Rose Konje to come forward and close with a word of prayer. Thank you.
Let us pray. Our Lord and our God, we want to thank you this morning once again. We asked you to be with us as we began this service. We thank you, Lord, that everything has gone in order as we had planned. And Lord, our God, we ask you to continue being with us, especially those of us who will be serving in the communities to reach our young people with the services, with the provided vans that are before us. We ask you to be with each and every one of us as we will be leaving this place. Be with those who will be traveling, going back to the districts. Protect them on the way. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Linga chake ndikuonetsetsa kuti project makamaka achinyamata akhale ndithu ndi mwayi opeza nkhani opeza thandizo titelo thandizo la nkhani za ubereki zimene pa chizungu amati sexual and reproductive health rights. Ndetu monga maboma amene alili ndi maboma omwe kwa dziko muno achuluka ndithu ndi nkhani zija za ma early marriages komanso ana ndithu atsikana kutenga mimba mwansanga. The project imene ya United Nations Joint Program on Education UNJPGE ikupangidwa implement maboma atatu amene wakuyambira chaka cha 2014 ndithu cholinga chake chenicheni ndikulimbikitsa maphunziro atsikana, koma kutengera kuti maphunziro atsikana pali zinthu zingapo zomwe zimayang'anidwa naona kuti izikhudzako madera ena monga nkhani imene ya ubereki pa nkhani ya anyamata ndi asungwana sexual and reproductive health rights. Ndi chifukwa chake ndithu ma mobile vans amenewo aperekedwa kuti athandize ndithu pa nkhani imeneyi ya ubereki. Nduna ya zaumoyo Khumbizeka Ndodo Chiponda amene amangoyankhula chakumapeto atsindikatu ndithu kuti cholinga chake cha ma mobile vans amenewo chikakwaniritsidwe chikakhale kuti magalimoto amenewa akagwire ntchito yake yoyenerera. Alangiza ndithu ma district director of health and social services maboma atatu amenewa kuti magalimoto amenewa omwe ndi amtengo wapatali kwambiri ndithu ndi magalimoto oti muli fridge muli generator ndithu ndi chipatala choti chitha kupita mwapadera madera akumidzi. Nde cholinga chake cha magalimoto amenewa chikagwiritsidwe ntchito anthu asakagwiritse ntchito molakwika anakambapo kuti ayi amatha kuyikamo zinthu zoti makala ndi zina zotero, koma ndithu watsimikizira anthu amenewa kuti magalimoto amenewa akathe kukagwira ntchito imeneyo yoyenera. Komanso tu mene ananenera kuti kunena mmene zinthu zimakhalira madera ambiri amene samafirikiridwa bwinobwino pa nkhani imene ya zinthu ya zaumoyo ni madera akumidzi. Ndipo potengera kuti magalimoto amenewa ndi apamwamba ndithu athopita kwina kulikonse, iwo ali ndi chikhulupiriro kuti magalimoto amenewa akathandiza kwambiri pa nkhani imeneyi ya zaumoyo. Komanso ananena kuti ambiri mwa anthu mdziko muno 50+ ndi achinyamata, ndipo panga target achinyamata amenewa ntchito imeneyi ndithu kubwera kwa achinyamata amenewa zithandiza kwambiri kuti achinyamata azipanga maganizo ndithu moyenera, chifukwa kuti azikapezeredwa akhala kudziwa bwinobwino kuti kodi nkhani imene ya ubereki sexual and reproductive health rights zikuyenda bwanji, ndipo china chilichonse chomwe chovuta chokhudza nkhani imene ya ubereki azikachipeza kudzera mu zipatala zimenezi zomwe zikupita m'madera ndithu akumidzi kwenikweni kudzera magalimoto amenewa 6 amene bungwe la UNFPA ndi ndalama zokwana tinauzidwa apa panakambidwa kuti ndalama zomwe zagwiritsidwa ntchito ndi ndalama pafupifupi $450,000 US lomwe dziko la Royal Norwegian Embassy lapereka ku UNFPA kudzera mu ntchito imeneyi yolimbikitsa maphunziro achinyamata ndi atsikana titero United Nations Joint Program on Education. Nde ntchito imeneyi mukayionetsetsa ndi ntchito yoti ikugwirapo magawo angapo ndithu, ikukamba za umoyo, ikukamba za maphunziro, komanso poganizira kuti maphunziro sungangopita osanadye palinso component ya chakudya imeneyi lomwe bungwe la UNFPA bungwe la World Food Program limakhala likupereka. Nde program imeneyi ndi chifukwa chake ikugwira kuti ikugwiridwa ndi mabungwe atatu a United Nations imeneyi UNFPA WFP komanso bungwe loona za chinyamata la natitero UNICEF. Kutengera kumbali ya mmene boma limayendera zachidziwikire kuti unduna wa zaumoyo uli pamenepo, unduna wa zamaphunziro uliso pamenepo, komanso unduna wa zachinyamata uli pomwepo. So at this point, as indicated, the United Nations Population Fund is the one which has made this donation possible, and we understand it's the Royal Norwegian Embassy which has made this donation. And with me here is the UNFPA representative, Ms. Young. You have made this donation to the Malawi government. What made you to make this donation to the Malawi government?
Considering the high number of the teenage pregnancy and also early marriage, as also the magnitude of the gender-based violence, we reckon there is a spots are not reached by the health services and many other services. So mobile vans will enable the health provider to be able to provide the sexual reproductive health services and also information to the young people, particularly adolescent girls and the young women living in remote area.
Okay, the umbrella program is the United Nations Joint Program on Education, which you are implementing in collaboration with other UN agencies, UNFPA and UNICEF.
And WFP.
And and WFP.
Yes, right.
Why targeting now this one particularly issues of sexual and reproductive health rights?
No, we have been working on this issue for a long time, and somehow the changes in behavior about the sexual reproductive health by the young people, but also the community member, social leaders, are not changing fast enough. And also one of the main challenges they have is the service delivery at their doorstep, because not everybody can travel so far away to get to the health facility, especially during the pandemic social restriction area. So definitely it is going to be a big investment to boost accessibility to quality sexual reproductive health services.
All right, that's it. That's the UNFPA country representative.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's Ms. Young, and we also have a representative from the Royal Norwegian Embassy, the ones who have made it possible for UNFPA to make this donation. Yeah, so you have made a donation to the United Nations Joint Program on Education through UNFPA to go towards sexual and reproductive health rights. Why did you make this, and why did you make this donation, and how much have you spent on these vehicles?
These vehicles, they, as it was said, approximately 60,000 each, US dollars. We have a combined program called Joint Program for Girls Education, which is supporting education also for boys, to be honest. But it focuses on the whole chain of education, from education through nutritious school meals, through this component which has to do with sexual and reproductive health. And we are doing that because, of course, we have noted, as it has been alluded today, the challenges with early pregnancies, child marriages, and these sort of issues. And we believe that girls should be given the opportunity to go to school and have these services available in their communities.
So in the final analysis, as funders for this donation, what do you expect to see in terms of maybe any change? What do you expect to see?
We have already seen in this program increased school enrollment rate, and that there are fewer dropouts of girls. And of course the COVID pandemic have increased some of these challenges, unfortunately. But when we get this pandemic under control, we hope that the early child marriages and the early pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies, are going down.
Thank you very much. That's a representative from the Royal Norwegian Embassy. As was indicated, the guest of honor to this function is Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbizeka Ndodo Chiponda. She talked a lot about how these vehicles should be handled and the impact that it's going to have on the provision of safe sexual and reproductive health services. Honorable Minister, we have this donation from the UNFPA from the Royal Norwegian Embassy through the UNFPA towards the United Nations Joint Program on Education. As a minister, what's your reaction to this donation?
My reaction as a minister is that we are very, very grateful to the UNFPA and indeed also to the Royal Norwegian Embassy, who have provided the funding for UNFPA to procure these funds. And we are very excited because these funds basically they are targeting our youth and our young women. Because as you are aware, in this country, over 50% of the population, it is the youth. And you know, we have had challenges, especially due to the COVID-19 pandemic, where we have witnessed young girls getting married early, but we have also witnessed a huge surge in teen pregnancies, which is a big challenge to us as a Ministry of Health, but also to the country. Because the future of this country, it is in the hands of the youth. And as a minister, we are supposed to provide health care services to our youth. We need to engage them, we need to talk to them. And so these are mobile clinics which will go around, especially to those areas where we don't even have a health center or indeed a health post. So these are mobile clinics and they have equipment to deliver. They can do circumcision, they can also provide the family planning services, but also they'll have a counselor who will be able to talk to the youth. Because these are the youth, sometimes, you know, they need to be guided properly for them to understand what are their rights, what is it that they can do. Our mandate, our hope is that we need to keep the girls and the boys in school. So we have to provide to them. But at the same time, we also have to understand their sexual reproductive, systems as well. So that is why we provide condoms, we provide family planning services as well to them. So we are very grateful to UNFPA for the vans which will go to Salima, Dedza, and Mangochi.
You made there was a special appeal about taking care of these vehicles. What message do you have to all the relevant authorities to these three districts?
Yes, I was telling especially the DHOs from these three districts, Salima, Mangochi, and Dedza, that they need to take care of these vans. They need to maintain them. We have had a situation under our ministry whereby you even see ambulances that are being used to ferry charcoal, which is not right. The cars or the vehicles which we provide to the districts, they're intended to be used for the patients to deliver a services. So I was making an appeal to our DHOs from these three districts that they need to take care of them and not misuse them. Chikumbo chathu nchonena kuti tuzindikira tsogolo la dziko linolo lili m'manja mwa amene wachinyamata ndi achitsikana. Nde ifeyo ngati akunduna za moyo ndi udindo wathu kuti tidzafotokozera achinyamata ndi atsikana iwowo marights awo. Kodi maufulu awo ndi otani? Kodi ifeyo ngati boma tingapange bwanji kuti tiwathandizire kuti akhalebe mu sukulu? Nde timapanga ma-services amenewa kuwauza kuti ngati pena zavutitsitsa timapereka zinthu ngati makondomu olo ma-family planning unena kuti atsikanaja asatenge mimba ansanga ayi, koma kuti akhale sukulu amalize sukulu zawo. Komanso timakhala ndi ma-counselors amene amakhala akukamba nawo mwa levulo yawo kuti iwowo amvetsetse bwinobwino, koma zolinga zanga zonena kuti kagulu kamene kakhale sukulu kuti aphunzire. Ndiye tayamika kwambiri chifukwa cha zipata zoyendayendazi zimene zikupita ku Salima, ku Dedza ndi ku Mangochi kuti tikathe kufikira kwa wina aliyense achinyamatawa asamavutike. Ife titha mapita mudzi ndi mudzi upita patiye ndikuti chipata chabwera anyamata abwera pamenepopo tikambirana nawo kodi zovuta ndi zichani, kodi tingakuthandizeni bwanji. Zonsezo zizitha kuchitika. Chifukwa chake ine ngati nduna ndikuyamika kwambiri kwa bungwe limeneli la UNFPA komanso makamaka Royal Norwegian Embassy amene anapereka ndalama zoti tigulire zipata zoyendayenda zimenezi.
Munakambapo nkhani yakasamalire kwa katundu ameneyo. Uthenga otani umene mungapereke kwa oyang'anira za umoyo maboma atatu amene?
Uthenga umene ndimapereka njonena kuti talandira mwaona magalimoto awa ndi abwino kwambiri komanso aoneka olimba. Ndiye timapempha kuti akapita kumeneko ku mabomako chonde akawasamalire. Chifukwa takhala tikuvutika komanso ona zinthu zosakhala bwino pamene ma-ambulance amene oti ntchito yawo ndi otenga odwala kupita nawo chipatala amapezeka kuti mwina pa chipatalapo kandokotala amatenga ngati mwina kunyumba kwake, pena opeza kuti ambulance munthu wadzadzamo makala, ambulance munthu wadzadzamo njerwa. Ndiye zimene ndimapempha kuti iyayi tikalandira mphatso ngati iyi ndiyofuna kuti ikagwire ntchito ya Malawi ndi akaonetsetse kuti ntchito yake imene ikagwirike ndiyothandiza Amalawi, yothandiza achinyamata athu, yothandiza azimayi athu, komanso yothandiza atsikana athu. Tisakhale ngati kuti tsopano ndapezapo mwayi kuti ndili galimoto yakunyumba ayi.
Tathokoza olemekezeka nduna.
Zikomo kwambiri.
Ndi mmenetu zinalili kuno ku Bingu International Convention Center komwe bungwe limeneli la United Nations Population Fund limapereka thandizo limeneli la magalimoto 6 panotu ndi pamapeto penipeni pazo chitika zomwe zinali kuno. Tingakupatsirani kwa anzathu ku Blantyre kuti apitirize mapulogalamu ena. Dzina langa ndine McDonald Tom.